Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to take a deep dive into prepping for an industrial waste inspector job interview.
A really important job when you think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to really help us out with this, we're going to be utilizing some fantastic information and resources from RoleCatcher.
Yeah, they've got a ton of career resources.
That's right, over 120,000 practice interview questions.
Wow.
I know it's a lot,
Yeah.
right? Even AI feedback to help you really tailor those answers.
Very cool.
So we're going to cover common interview questions, some really effective ways to answer those questions, and we're going to weave in some insights from experienced industrial waste inspectors.
Sounds good to me.
So let's set the stage first.
Okay.
What does an industrial waste inspector actually do on like a day-to-day basis? What does that look like?
Well, you can think of them as kind of like environmental detectives.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so, they're the ones that are examining all the waste management documentation
Okay.
and then collecting samples and, observing industrial practices.
Right, making sure everything is compliant with those environmental regulations.
Exactly.
Got it.
And the thing about this is that, one day you might be in the office.
Right?
And then the next day, you're out at a manufacturing plant.
Oh, wow. So very different environments, potentially.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's something you keep in mind. Adaptability is key.
For sure.
All right, so let's dive into these interview questions.
Okay.
RoleCatcher provided us with a bunch, and we're going to unpack some of the common ones that you might encounter.
Great.
All right, so first up, what inspired you to become an industrial waste inspector?
This one is interesting.
Yeah, it seems simple, but what are they really trying to get at here?
Well, anyone can say that they, want to help the planet or care about the environment.
Right.
But what they're looking for is that specific experience or moment
Mm-hmm.
that truly sparked that interest in this specific career.
Yeah, so instead of just saying, I want to help the planet,
Right.
you're saying, we really need to have a story that we can share.
Exactly, a personal story.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a college course,
Okay.
a volunteer experience, or even, witnessing the impact of pollution firsthand.
Right, because that really demonstrates that genuine interest.
It does,
Yeah.
and a compelling story is more memorable.
Oh, for sure.
It helps you stand out from the crowd.
Right, and this is where I think RoleCatcher's AI can come into play because,
Oh, yeah.
let's say you have your story, but you're not quite sure if it's, hitting all the marks.
Right.
You can input it, and their AI will analyze it and be like, hey, maybe tweak this or add this.
Yeah, it's like having a personal storytelling coach.
I love it. Okay, next question. How do you stay updated on the latest environmental regulations and policies?
So this one sounds straightforward.
Yeah, but I feel like there might be a trap here.
There is.
What do we need to be careful of?
Well, simply saying, I read industry news is not going to cut it.
Okay,
They want to know that you're truly committed to continuous learning.
so we need to be specific.
Very specific. Could you talk about a recent regulatory change that's impacting the field
Okay.
and why it matters?
Right, so it's not just knowing that it changed, but what it means.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
And name specific publications,
Right.
organizations, training you've completed?
Right, so really drive that point home.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. How do you ensure compliance with environmental regulations and policies?
So this one sounds a little more complex.
Yeah, where do we even begin?
Well, this is your chance to really demonstrate your process. Think about it.
Yeah.
How do you approach an inspection step by step?
Okay,
Do you start by reviewing the company's waste management plan?
right.
What kind of on-site observations do you make?
Okay, so instead of just saying, I make sure they follow the rules,
Right.
we're actually walking them through it.
Exactly.
Okay.
What tools and techniques do you use to assess compliance?
Okay, so we're showing them that we have a method.
Right.
It's not just random,
Right.
and that attention to detail is important.
Absolutely.
Okay, and again, I bet RoleCatcher's AI would be great to fine-tune this answer.
Oh, for sure.
Make sure we're not being too vague.
Right.
Make sure we're hitting those key points.
It's like having an expert editor review your work.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding environmental compliance?
Okay, so this is a classic behavioral question.
Yeah, they want a real-world example.
Exactly.
So what's a situation that would be good to use as an example here?
Well, think about a time that you faced a dilemma,
Okay.
maybe a situation where a company wasn't compliant, but the solution wasn't straightforward.
Right, it wasn't just black and white.
Right. Okay.
What was the impact of your decision?
Right. because we don't want to just describe the problem.
Right.
We want to talk about what we did.
Exactly how you arrived at that solution.
Okay. And what was the ultimate outcome?
Okay, great. So it's about problem solving, ethical decision making, and then what was the outcome?
That's it.
Okay. And I'm sure RoleCatcher's database probably has examples of similar situations
Oh, I bet they do.
that other inspectors have faced.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, to kind of see what that looks like and how to frame our own story.
That would be great.
Okay. How do you prioritize your workload as an industrial waste inspector?
So this seems like just about organization.
Yeah, but there's got to be more to it.
There is.
What do you think?
Well, they want to know, you understand that not all tasks are created equal.
Right. Some things are more important.
Exactly.
Okay.
So how do you assess risk?
Uh-huh.
Do you use a risk matrix
Okay.
or other assessment tools to objectively prioritize those tasks?
So instead of just saying, I make a to-do list,
Right.
we're talking about deadlines,
Right.
potential environmental impact,
Exactly.
all those things.
Yeah.
And again, I bet RoleCatcher could flag any areas in our answer where we might be too generic or don't adequately showcase that process.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
It's like a second set of eyes.
But these eyes have a deep understanding of what interviewers are looking for.
Exactly.
Okay, next question. How do you handle conflicts with stakeholders, such as companies or regulatory agencies?
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah, conflict resolution.
Very important.
It really is.
In this job especially.
Especially because you're often the one having to, enforce those regulations.
Exactly.
So what are they looking for here in this answer?
Well, they're trying to assess your communication skills,
Okay.
your diplomacy, and your ability to navigate those potentially tense situations.
Right, because we don't want to just barge in and be like, you're doing this wrong.
Right.
Right.
You need to be assertive,
Uh-huh.
but also maintain your professionalism
Okay.
and find common ground.
Okay.
So think about a time where maybe you've had to mediate a dispute between a company and a regulatory agency, or successfully negotiated a compromise.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I have a specific example ready to go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Where you achieved compliance and met the company's needs.
Right. It's about finding that win-win.
Exactly.
Okay. And I'm sure RoleCatcher could probably help us here with the tone of our answer.
Oh, for sure.
Making sure it's diplomatic enough, but also firm.
Yeah. You want to strike that right balance.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. How do you ensure that the companies you inspect are following the correct waste disposal procedures?
Okay, so this is a core part of the job.
This is it.
You need to nail this one.
Yeah, so let's nail it.
Okay.
What do we need to do?
We'll start by outlining your process.
Okay.
How do you familiarize yourself with a company's waste streams?
Okay.
What specific procedures are you looking for?
Right. So it's not just about showing up and glancing around.
Exactly.
We have to have a process.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sure we can use the right terminology
Oh, absolutely.
by using RoleCatcher, to make sure we're hitting all those points and really sounding like we know what we're talking about.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
It's like having a subject matter expert
Oh,
reviewing your work.
love it. All right.
Yeah.
How do you maintain accurate and detailed records of your inspections and findings?
So this is another one that seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, all that organization, right?
Yeah, but it's really about understanding the importance of record keeping
Yep.
for legal and environmental accountability.
Right, because those records are important
They are.
if something were to happen.
So talk about the systems you use
Okay.
for documentation,
Yeah.
standardized forms,
Yeah.
databases, photography even.
Okay.
Do you double check your data entry?
That's a good point. Those little details are important.
They are. Do you
Yeah.
have a system for organizing and archiving records?
Okay. So really showing that methodical approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you use specific software, you mentioned that.
Okay, so showcase that technical knowledge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And, again, RoleCatcher
Mm-hmm.
might be able to give you feedback on this.
Yeah.
Suggest maybe giving specific examples of
Okay.
how you've maintained data integrity in the past.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. This one's all about safety.
Okay.
How do you ensure that your inspections are conducted in a safe and compliant manner?
This one is really important.
It is because you're often working in these hazardous environments.
Absolutely.
So what are they trying to figure out with this question?
Well, they want to know how committed you are to both personal and environmental safety.
Right.
So you need to showcase your understanding of those safety procedures,
Okay.
your ability to assess risk,
Uh-huh.
and that you adhere to regulations.
Okay, so walk us through how we should approach answering this.
We'll start by outlining the steps you take to ensure your own safety.
Oh,
We'll talk about wearing the appropriate PPE,
okay.
conducting risk assessments before entering a site, and following established safety protocols.
Okay.
And be specific about the type of PPE you're familiar with.
Oh, okay.
Like respirators, gloves, safety harnesses.
Right. So we're not just saying like, I wear safety gear.
Yeah.
We're saying I wear this, this, and this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Talk about how you identify potential hazards and
Right.
take steps to mitigate those risks.
Okay.
And if there are any specific safety regulations you adhere to,
Yeah.
mention those as
Yeah,
well.
perfect.
And, don't forget to mention how you ensure the environmental compliance of those inspections.
Oh, it's a good point.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about both sides of it.
Yeah.
The safety of ourselves and then the impact on the environment.
Absolutely.
And again, RoleCatcher can help us here
Yeah,
to make sure we're, hitting all those key points.
absolutely. They might be able to suggest
Yeah.
adding details about specific safety training you've completed.
Oh, that's a great point
Yeah.
to really show that we're committed.
Exactly. And it's not just about giving you a script. It's about helping you refine your own knowledge and experience.
Okay, let's tackle one more question before we wrap up this part of the deep dive.
Okay.
How do you lead and train other industrial waste inspectors to ensure consistency and quality in their work?
So this one is geared towards those more experienced inspectors.
Okay, so if you're just starting out, you might not get asked this one,
Right.
but if you're looking to move up,
Absolutely.
this is something to be ready for.
It is.
So what are they looking for in an answer to this question?
Well, they want to know about your leadership skills
Okay.
and your ability to not only perform the role,
Uh,
but to guide and mentor others.
Okay.
And make sure everyone's on the same page when it comes to those standards and procedures.
right, because consistency is important,
Very important.
especially if you're, working with a team or leading a team.
Exactly.
So what are some good things to hit in our answer?
Well, you want to talk about your experience in developing training materials,
Okay.
conducting hands-on demonstrations, providing feedback and coaching.
Okay.
Talk about how you create
Yeah.
a supportive and educational environment.
So it's not just about telling people what to do.
Right.
It's about teaching them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you encourage open communication?
Right, creating that space for learning.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do you create opportunities for team members to share their knowledge
Uh-huh.
and experiences?
That's a good point, because everyone has different experiences.
They do.
Okay, and I'm sure RoleCatcher could help us here, too, with the AI
Absolutely.
to, add those extra details.
Yeah. To refine your answer.
Okay, great. So, wow, we have covered a lot of ground
We have.
in this first part of our deep dive.
Absolutely.
But this is just the beginning.
That's right. We've got more to come.
We've unpacked some of those challenging interview questions. We've explored strategies for crafting those answers. And, of course, we've discovered how RoleCatcher can help us fine-tune our responses
Yeah.
and really present ourselves as those ideal candidates.
It's a great tool. It really is.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Ready to dive into some more of those interview questions?
Absolutely. Let's keep going.
Okay, so this one tests your ability to anticipate challenges.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest challenges you anticipate facing as an industrial waste inspector, and how would you overcome them?
Ooh, this is a good one because they're really asking us to look ahead
Exactly.
and think critically.
So, one challenge you might face is resistance from companies.
Oh, yeah. I bet that happens.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh.
Especially if they see those regulations as costly or inconvenient.
Right. They might not want to do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You could also encounter situations where budget cuts or, limited resources make your job a lot more difficult.
So we have to be resourceful.
Yes, very resourceful.
Okay.
And you might even come across gaps in existing regulations.
Oh, that's interesting. Which makes it really tricky to address certain environmental issues.
Okay, so being prepared for those kinds of challenges is important.
It is.
Okay, so when answering this question,
Yeah.
it's not just about identifying the challenges,
Right.
but talking about how we would overcome them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're facing resistance from a company, you could emphasize your communication skills and your ability to build relationships and, work collaboratively towards compliance.
Right, so it's not about being adversarial.
Exactly.
It's about working together.
It is.
Okay.
If you're dealing with budget constraints,
Yeah.
you might highlight your creativity
Okay.
and your ability to prioritize those tasks.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you've developed, innovative inspection methods or found ways to leverage technology.
To be more efficient.
Exactly.
Right.
Show them that you can make the most of those limited resources.
Right, we can do a lot with a little.
Absolutely. And what if you encounter those regulatory gaps that we talked about?
What do we do then?
Well, you could emphasize your commitment to continuous learning.
Okay.
And your ability to advocate for change.
So we're not just going to sit back and be like, well, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
We're going to try and make things better.
Maybe you've researched best practices from other regions.
Okay.
Or participated in industry groups that are working to improve those regulations.
That's a great point, showing that we're proactive.
Exactly.
And I'm sure RoleCatcher could be helpful with this question as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Providing insights into industry trends.
Yeah.
Common challenges.
That would be very helpful.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, so this one dives into your experiences.
Okay.
Tell us about a time when you had to go above and beyond to ensure environmental compliance.
Another behavioral question.
It is.
They want to see what we've actually done.
So what kind of story would really showcase your dedication?
Yeah, what are they looking for?
Well, think about a situation where you went beyond your typical duties.
Okay.
Maybe you worked extra hours to investigate a complex case.
Yeah.
Or you took the initiative to educate a company about best practices, to prevent a potential violation.
So we're being proactive.
Yes, very proactive.
Okay.
And remember, the key here is to really highlight the impact of your actions.
Okay.
Did your efforts result in a significant improvement in a company's practices?
Okay.
Did you prevent pollution?
So it's not just about doing the bare minimum.
Right.
We're going above and beyond.
Really show that enthusiasm for going that extra mile.
Yeah, because it shows that we care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let them see that you're genuinely passionate.
And I'm sure RoleCatcher could help us with this.
Oh, for sure.
Seeing what other inspectors have done.
Yeah.
That's considered above and beyond.
They might have examples of best practices or success stories.
Okay, love it. All right, what else?
Okay, this one's a bit of a curveball.
How would you handle a situation where you suspected a company was deliberately hiding environmental violations?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Because there's the ethical considerations there.
Absolutely.
So how do we approach this?
Well, this is where you showcase your commitment to upholding the law.
Okay.
And protecting the environment. But you also want to demonstrate professionalism.
Right.
And an understanding of due process.
Okay, so we can't just barge in and accuse them.
Right.
Be very careful.
So you might explain that you would approach the situation cautiously.
Okay.
Gather evidence to support your suspicions.
Before taking any action.
Exactly.
Oh.
You could mention your willingness to consult with supervisors.
Okay.
Or legal counsel.
To make sure we're doing things the right way.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's crucial to emphasize the importance of maintaining confidentiality.
Right.
To protect the integrity of any potential investigation.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher might be able to offer resources here.
Oh, good.
That outline best practices
Okay.
for handling sensitive situations.
Perfect. Because it can be a really tricky situation to navigate.
It can.
Okay.
All right, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And tackle a more technical question.
All right, bring it on.
Describe your experience with environmental sampling and analysis techniques.
Okay, so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yes, we are.
How do we show off our knowledge here?
Well, start by outlining the types of environmental samples that you've collected.
Yeah.
Have you collected water samples, soil samples, air samples?
Okay.
Be specific and describe the methods you used to ensure the integrity of those samples.
Right, because that's important.
It is very important.
Making sure everything's done correctly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't forget to mention any analytical techniques you're familiar with.
Okay.
Have you used gas chromatography?
Yeah.
Mass spectrometry? Spectrophotometry?
Okay, so all those technical terms.
Exactly.
Make sure we know them.
The more specific you are, the more you demonstrate that technical competence.
That's a great point.
And, if you haven't had a lot of hands-on experience, don't worry, you can still highlight the theoretical knowledge of those techniques. Maybe you've taken relevant courses or done some research.
Right.
Emphasize your willingness to learn.
Okay, so it's okay to acknowledge that we don't know everything as long as we're willing to learn.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure RoleCatcher has resources here.
Oh, I bet they do.
To learn about those techniques.
Yep.
And maybe even certifications.
That would be helpful.
Okay, next question.
How would you stay current on changes to environmental regulations and policies?
They're really hitting us with these continuous learning questions.
They are very important.
They are.
So how do you stay updated?
Yeah, what are some things that we do?
Well, don't just say, I read industry news.
Right, we have to be specific.
Be specific.
Oh.
Do you subscribe to newsletters?
Okay.
Journals?
Uh-huh.
Attend conferences?
Right.
Workshops?
Okay, so really show that engagement.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
Well, you could mention any professional organization that you're a member of, like the Solid Waste Association of North America or the Air and Waste Management Association.
Sure.
Don't forget to highlight any certifications that you hold or are pursuing because it shows your dedication to professional development.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And RoleCatcher might be able to give you some access to information about environmental regulations and policies.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What are your greatest strengths as an industrial waste inspector?
The strengths question.
It's a classic.
It is.
What's the best way to approach this one?
Well, focus on the strengths that are most relevant to the role and align with the qualities that, they've been emphasizing.
So listen to what they've been asking.
Exactly.
And then tailor our answer.
You could talk about your technical expertise.
Okay.
Your problem-solving skills.
Uh-huh.
Your communication abilities.
Okay.
Your attention to detail.
Yep.
Your ability to work independently and as part of a team.
Right. Those are all really important.
They are.
Yeah.
And don't just list your strengths. Give some examples.
Hey.
If you're highlighting your attention to detail, mention a time when you caught, a subtle violation during an inspection.
Oh, that's a good point.
If you're emphasizing communication skills, describe a time when you successfully mediated a conflict between a company and a regulatory agency.
So we're painting that picture of our strengths in action.
It is.
And I'm sure RoleCatcher can help us here.
Yeah.
Because they have insights into the specific skills
that
employers are looking for.
So you can really use that information to tailor your answer.
Perfect. All right, next question. What are your greatest weaknesses as an industrial waste inspector?
The weakness question.
The one everyone dreads.
It's a tricky one.
It is.
But you can turn it into an opportunity.
Okay.
To showcase your self-awareness.
Okay.
And your commitment to growth.
Okay, so how do we choose a weakness that doesn't make us sound like we're not qualified?
Well, you want to be honest.
Okay.
But strategic.
Okay.
Choose a weakness that's relatively minor.
Okay.
And that you're actively working to improve.
Okay.
Avoid mentioning weaknesses that are essential to the role.
Right.
Or could raise some serious red flags.
Okay, what are some examples?
Well, you might say that you tend to be overly detail-oriented, which, can slow down your work sometimes. Or you might mention that you're still developing your public speaking skills.
Okay.
Which can be a challenge when giving presentations.
Right, so we're choosing something that's understandable, but that we're working on.
And the most important part is to explain how you're addressing it.
Right.
Are you taking courses? Seeking feedback? Practicing new techniques.
Show them that we're taking action.
Exactly.
And I'm sure RoleCatcher's AI could be helpful here, too.
Oh, for sure.
To frame it in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So they're trying to gauge your ambition here.
Yeah, and see if our goals align with the company's goals.
Exactly.
So how do we answer this?
Well, start by expressing your enthusiasm for the role.
Okay.
And your eagerness to learn and contribute. You might mention, your desire to gain expertise in specific areas of waste management.
Okay.
Or to take on some leadership roles.
So showing that we want to grow with the company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you want to align your aspirations with the company's values and mission.
That's a good point.
So if they're focused on sustainability, emphasize your commitment to promoting environmentally responsible practices.
Okay, so do your research on the company beforehand.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's important to be ambitious,
Yeah.
but realistic.
Right.
Don't overpromise or make claims that you can't back up.
That's a good point.
And RoleCatcher's platform might be able to give you some insights into career paths and advancement opportunities.
So we can tailor our answer.
Exactly.
Okay, next question. Why should we hire you for this industrial waste inspector position?
This is your closing argument.
Yeah.
This is where you bring everything together.
What are some key points we should hit?
Well, you want to reiterate your passion for environmental protection.
Okay.
Summarize your key skills and qualities.
And talk about how those align with the company.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mention your technical expertise,
Okay.
your problem-solving abilities,
Yeah.
your communication skills,
Yeah.
attention to detail,
Okay.
ethical compass, and, your ability to work independently.
So we're painting a picture of ourselves.
As that well-rounded candidate,
Okay.
someone who's ready to hit the ground running.
Love it.
And don't forget to express your confidence in your ability to make a positive contribution.
Okay.
Leave them with a sense of excitement.
Oh, yeah.
And RoleCatcher might be able to offer some insights here as well into, the specific skills and qualities employers are looking for.
Perfect.
So you can tailor that answer.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
All right. So this might seem like a throwaway question, but it's actually a crucial opportunity.
What do you mean?
Well, it's your chance to demonstrate your engagement, your curiosity, and your genuine interest in the role in the company.
So we can't just say, nope, I think you covered everything.
Right. You want to have some questions prepared that show that you've done your research. You might ask about their specific environmental initiatives, their approach to waste management, their plans for, growth and expansion.
So really showing them that we've thought about this.
Exactly. And, don't be afraid to ask questions that clarify aspects of the role or the company culture.
So it's about gathering information.
It is.
For us as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. What kind of questions could we ask?
Well, you could ask about the team dynamic.
Okay.
The opportunities for professional development. Or, the company's commitment to work-life balance.
Right, because those are all important factors.
They are very important.
In choosing a job.
And here's a pro tip.
Okay.
Listen carefully to the answers and ask follow-up questions.
Okay.
This shows that you're genuinely interested.
Right, so we're actively listening.
And, RoleCatcher might be able to offer some insights into the company culture, the leadership styles, employee reviews.
So we can really get a sense of what it's like to work there.
Exactly.
Wow, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this second part of our deep dive.
But we're not finished yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. So we've prepped for that interview. We've talked about some of those challenging questions, but what happens after you land the job? What comes next?
Well, securing the position, that's just the first step.
Right, the journey's just beginning.
Exactly. And now we're going to map out that career path ahead.
Okay.
And explore how you can really excel in this role.
Love it.
And become a leader in the field.
Okay, so let's say we aced the interview, got that job offer, and we're ready to go.
Okay.
What does that journey look like? Where do we even begin?
Well, typically you'll start in an entry-level position.
Okay.
Maybe at a waste management company, an environmental consulting firm, or even a government agency.
Okay, so different options there.
Yeah, and you'll be learning the ropes, assisting senior inspectors, and gradually taking on more responsibility.
So proving ourselves, basically.
Exactly, and don't underestimate the value of those early roles.
Okay.
They're your chance to really absorb all that knowledge from experienced professionals.
Right, learn from the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
Build your network and really understand those nuances of the field.
Okay, so we've put in the work. We've gained that experience, and we're ready to climb that career ladder.
Okay.
What are some of the paths for advancement? What does that look like?
Well, there's so many possibilities.
Okay, good.
You could move into a senior inspector role.
Okay.
Taking on more complex cases, leading inspections, mentoring junior staff.
Some more responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you might specialize in a particular area.
Okay.
Like hazardous waste management, industrial recycling, or regulatory compliance.
So find that niche that we're really interested in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And, some inspectors move into management roles, overseeing teams developing policies.
Okay.
And ensuring that their organization is meeting those environmental standards.
Okay. So lots of options.
Yeah. Others transition into consulting.
Okay.
Providing expert advice to companies or government agencies.
Okay, so no matter what path we choose, continuous learning is key.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because this field is always changing.
Always evolving, yeah.
So how can we make sure we're staying up to date? What are some things we can do?
Well, certifications are a powerful way to boost your credentials and demonstrate that expertise.
Okay.
For example, the Hayes-Whooper certification is highly sought after.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, especially for those working with hazardous waste.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, for those interested in hazardous materials management, the CHMM certification is a respected credential. that demonstrates a deep understanding of the regulations and best practices.
So it's like adding those credentials
Absolutely.
to our resume.
Yeah. And then the CEA certification is another great option for those interested in conducting environmental audits and assessments, helping companies identify areas for improvement and ensure compliance.
So it sounds like there's a certification for pretty much every area.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And remember, certifications aren't just about the letters after your name.
Right.
It represents a commitment to professional growth.
So it shows that we're serious about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that you have that passion for excellence.
Okay. Earlier we were talking about portfolios and networking.
Oh, yeah. Those are important.
How can those help us advance our careers?
Well, a well-crafted portfolio can showcase your skills, experience, and accomplishments in a really tangible way.
So it's more than just our resume.
Right. It's a chance to really, go beyond that resume.
Okay. So what kind of stuff should we be putting in our portfolio?
Well, think about any projects, research, or presentations you've been involved in.
That relate to waste management or environmental compliance.
Okay.
Maybe you helped a company develop a new waste reduction plan.
Okay.
Conducted a study on the environmental impact of a particular process.
So real-world examples.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can include any articles or blog posts you've written to showcase that thought leadership.
Okay.
And don't underestimate visuals.
Oh, yeah. Pictures are always good.
Absolutely. Photographs, diagrams, graphs.
So it's really visually appealing.
Yeah. Make it more engaging.
Okay. And what about networking? How does that come into play?
Well, networking is so important.
Okay.
Building relationships with people in the field can open doors to new opportunities, provide valuable insights, help you stay connected with industry trends.
So where do we find these connections?
Well, industry events, conferences, workshops, trade shows, all of those bring together professionals from across the field.
Creating opportunities to meet potential mentors, employers, and collaborators.
To put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't forget about online networking.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one these days.
It is join LinkedIn groups.
Okay.
Participate in online forums.
Right.
And follow industry leaders on social media.
So lots of ways to connect.
So many ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And remember, networking is a two-way street.
Oh, that's a good point.
Be generous with your knowledge.
Okay.
Your connections offer to help others.
So pay it forward.
Exactly.
Okay.
And RoleCatcher can also be a valuable resource for networking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so?
Well, their platform connects you with a vast network of professionals.
Yeah.
And you can use their search tools to find people with specific expertise.
Oh, wow.
Connect with potential mentors or even explore job opportunities.
That's awesome.
And as you advance in your career, remember that leadership isn't just about titles or positions.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's about inspiring others, mentoring junior staff, and advocating for positive change.
So being a role model.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this journey, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Very true.
There will be challenges, setbacks, moments of uncertainty.
Right. But we can get through it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But by embracing continuous learning, building that strong network, and staying true to your passion, you can really achieve incredible things.
That's a really inspiring message.
It's been a great journey.
It has.
And remember, no matter where your career takes you, that core mission remains the same.
Which is?
Protecting human health and the environment by ensuring those responsible waste management practices.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, this has been a great deep dive.
It has.
We've talked about so much.
Absolutely.
From interview prep to career mapping.
Certifications networking.
It's all been so helpful.
And remember, resources like RoleCatcher are there to support you.
They're a great resource.
So best of luck in your career adventures.
And to all of our listeners out there, until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay passionate about protecting our planet.